So here today to talk about culture change, I thought the best use of my time and my best use to you was to talk about two main versions or two main thoughts about culture change. One is that organisation level culture change, and to sort of share that with you, I'll talk about my own organisation in Australia and a bit of the journey we've been through and are continuing to go through and learn every day. And the next is about you and me and any individual who works in any capacity with older people in a long-term care setting. So we can do very individualised work with people, but if it's still focused in this direction, it's kind of just like bossing people around in a really individualised way. And that's what it can be limited to. So, yeah. I guess the difference between person-centred and relationship-centred or relational is person-centred is I know all about you. Relationship or relational is I just know you. And it's a subtle difference, but it's a really big one. So that's what we all inherited. That's where we're heading. This is where we want to be. This is turning the rudder and gradually trying to head in this direction. And believe me, my organisation have been trying this for 5 years now, and we're still turning and learning new things every day, and failing and then learning new things. But it really is, if you can forget all the fancy words and the models and the frameworks and just think of it as one's a nursing home and the other one's senior living. In this way, we're just helping our elders to continue live their life, because they actually need our support to keep doing that. They're probably not safe at home. They need that extra support to keep living their life and to keep making choices. And I think that's a helpful difference because it bypasses all of the terminology and words, and that was a lovely way you described it before. But it's really the focus is on the quality of the relationships between people. And it's not rocket science. The more I know this resident, the more consistently I work with them, the better relationship I have, the better I'm going to be able to support them on all sorts of levels. Even to know about small changes in their health, even to know what their face looks like when they're in pain, to know the little things about that person through a relationship. And these have to be two-way relationships. Staff have to have permission to bring that humanness to work with them. And the outcomes or success are determined by the residents themselves, not by other people or not by a focus just on biology. So if we're finding out if somebody likes food, it's not, are you having enough good nutritious food here that you like? Because what if people don't like nutritious food? Yeah, for me in this context right now, I'm thinking some access to some good quality red wine, a really good internet access, some nice cheeses. At the moment, that'd be good for me. Yep. That's for me. Obviously, it's not going to be for everyone, although it is a few people I know at this table, thankfully. But it's determined by the resident themselves. It's like when we used to think the more activities they do, the better. But what if someone doesn't like leaving their room that often or doing much stuff? Again, we're putting values on things that we think are good for people rather than having them determine it themselves. And I guess for those who heard me speak last year, our learning as an organisation, Arcare, in the last 12 months has been very much in this space. Very much around the rights of people living in our homes, the right to determine what a good life in there looks like to them. And also very much about using these relationships as just another protective layer to make sure that people are making their choices and other people aren't bossing them around. Not us, but also not the people closest to them. We often find that people's rights can be infringed mostly by well-meaning people, but people who are sort of saying, I want mum up at 7 or I want her doing lots of activities. We've really had to get in there to protect residents and to make sure that their privacy is protected.